never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine, I'm not.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed the weekend. Let's go ahead and kick off the Monday with our weekly Braves review. I try my best to do one of these every week all year long during the Major League Baseball season. Now, this past week was a phenomenal week for the Braves. They did about as good as you could possibly do. The only way they could have done any better would have been to play more games, so they could have won more games, but they went 6-0 last week. Of course, they were off Monday and they were off Thursday, but they played a doubleheader against the Marlins on Saturday, so they played 6 games altogether, and they won both games against the Red Sox, and they won all 4 games against the Marlins. They started last week 7 games out of the National League East behind the Mets. Now they're 5.5 games out in the National League East behind the Mets, so they gained a game and a half last week. That's pretty doggone good. Now, this upcoming week, starting tonight, is going to be a tough week for the Braves because they play 4 with the Mets starting tonight, and then when that wraps up on Thursday, they will get ready to play the Astros starting on Friday. So no off days this week, and they'll play 4 with the Mets and 3 with the Astros. So that's a pretty tough week as far as the schedule goes. That's about as tough as you can get with no off days, and you're playing the National League East leading New York Mets and the American League West leading Houston Astros, who of course the Braves beat in the World Series last year. Ian Anderson got to pitch on Saturday because there was a doubleheader, and you always get to add an extra roster member for a doubleheader. And the Braves got to add 2 pitchers because, first of all, you had the doubleheader, and then second of all, they had to put Max Fried on the injured list for 10 days because of a concussion. So they called up Ian Anderson and Bryce Elder. Bryce Elder pitched yesterday, and he looked absolutely great. Maybe he is another future star in the making as far as a pitching prospect. They also called up Vaughn Grissom because they had to put Orlando Arcia on the injured list. And Vaughn Grissom, so far in a few quick games, has looked amazing. But I'm glad he's got experience because they say that if Dansby Swanson doesn't come back next year, that Vaughn Grissom is the future shortstop. And I already like him better than Dansby Swanson because, first of all, he makes contact, and Dansby Swanson strikes out more than power hitters do. But also, he seems like he's faster than Dansby and makes more contact than Dansby and has just as much range in the field. But the Braves have shown already under this new regime with Alex Anthopoulos that they're not afraid to call up minor league kids, because the only way you're going to find out whether or not they're ready is to go ahead and give them a shot. And of course, it works sometimes it doesn't. Michael Harris Jr. had to get called up earlier this year because of the injuries and the struggles in the outfield, and he looks great and continues to look great. And Vaughn Grissom got called up because of Orlando Arcia's injury, with Ozzie Albies already being out injured. And in those situations, it's worked. Harris looks like he's ready, and Grissom looks like he's ready, and these guys are AA players, not AAA, but AA. But it also backfires sometimes, because Tyler Pasternicki came up a few years back, and he never was any good. He's out of the game now. And then they called up Christian Pache. He never worked out. They called up Malik Smith. He never worked out. They called up Bryce Wilson. He never worked out. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you never know if a kid is major league ready unless you put him on the roster and find out. I think it's obvious that Michael Harris Jr. is ready, and I think it's obvious that Vaughn Grissom is ready. I'm still not convinced Dansby will be back, but I'm also not convinced he won't be back, because you really don't hear a lot of talk about the negotiations. But I do know that a few weeks back they gave Austin Riley the largest contract in franchise history when he got a $212 million deal over 10 years, which is a little bit more than $21 million a year. And Austin Riley is 2 times the player that Dansby Swanson is. So if Dansby Swanson wants the kind of money Austin Riley got, he probably won't be back. But if he's willing to settle for $13 or $14 million a year, he might be back. Now this year, Dansby Swanson has hit good. He has still struck out way too many times, but his average is good. But up until this year, he's been an average hitter at best. So is this year a one-year anomaly, and next year he goes back to the guy that hits 250, or is this year the new Dansby Swanson? There's just no way to know. But I got a feeling that if he goes to the Braves and asks for $20+ million a year, they won't bring him back unless he only wants a 4 or 5 year deal. But most players want an 8, 9, 10-year deal, and I just don't think they'll give him $20 million a year for 10 years. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see that happening. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. But a 6-0 week is good. Like I said, the only way to do better than that is to play 7 games and go 7-0, or play 8 games and go 8-0. So you can't complain about a 6-0 week. Sweeping the 2-game set with the Red Sox and winning all 4 games, including the doubleheader on Saturday against the Marlins. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My 12-year-old son tried coffee for the first time today. It tastes like dirt, he said, and I told him it was just ground this morning. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.